Here on Treaty 7 territory, nestled in the Rocky Mountains with the mighty Bow River at an altitude of 1,309 meters. Born from coal dust in 1884 and ever-changing, this is Canmore, and we are Canmorites, and this is the Canmorite Podcast. Let's go! Hey everyone, it's me, Jeff Ma, and we're back on the Canmorite Podcast. Crazy enough, it's like episode 21 already. And with me here, we're going up the highway towards Banff, talking with like a great friend of mine and an amazing counselor who's running for re-election. We have got on the podcast
Kaylee Ram.
Kaylee Ram. You nailed your hit. Okay, so Kaylee, oh man, tell me about how are things going?
Yeah, no, things are going great. Similarly to you, we're just, I think, ending our second week now of full campaigning, which is super exciting. And yeah, just getting out in the community and having all the events. Today, we just had our kickoff to Pride,
Hmm.
which was super exciting. So we had the Pride flag rise ceremony
Mhm.
at Central Park. So now just hopping on with you, but otherwise everything's good.
Yeah, so yeah, we got our pride flag raising tomorrow around noon. So that's gonna be Saturday down at the Civic Center. Um, I think something that I've always connected with you about, Kaylee, as a fellow counselor, is that we're both neck deep in the world of family. Like I've got two kids. I've got a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. I remember starting last term, I was like, whoa, this is intense. And I think you're kind of in a similar situation. Hey, like not everybody knows like what's going on in your family world. Fill us in.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for asking. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was the first Banff counselor to use our parental and maternity leave bylaw, which was back in 2023 when I gave birth to my son. So
Mm.
he is now two. And for those who don't know, I'm currently pregnant with my second, as I like to say, working on my second term and second baby. Um, so yeah, it's such a balance, especially obviously being a local business owner as well. So it is just I just learned to embrace the chaos.
Yeah, well, man, I definitely know that time going from like one to two was like true chaos, and I I find campaigning really challenging. So the fact that you can do it with a 2-year-old in tow and also, getting ready for another one, that is like you must have some sort of superpower.
My superpower is honestly the support that I have from others. My partner is super great. My mom, I'm very fortunate that lives in town.
Hmm.
And then we also got into daycare this year, which has also been a really big help. So, those are absolutely, if I didn't have those three things and pillars, I can't imagine.
Right. And so that's an interesting thing because I think in campaigns, is that something that is sort of like pushing one of your pieces, the whole childcare piece for campaigning?
Yeah, so something that I definitely want to bring,
Hmm.
and it's been a really good discussion topic that's been brought up a few times, but I don't
Hmm.
think that people really realize how dire the situation is. So, um, again, not fully knowing the situation in Canmore, but in
Hmm.
Banff, we have two main facilities, and then kids under the age of 6. So that's from 12 months up until they just start kindergarten.
Yep.
And then we also have one day home. And then there is a play school, and then there's programs for after school once kids start in kindergarten. But we are in about 140 kid deficit. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty big. And that was from a recent survey that we got. So we're doing a childcare assessment survey.
Hmm.
We haven't had the full report come back for any strategic plans that's going to come forward, but it's something that, when you talk to parents of kids that I went to, school with, and my even talking to my mom afterwards as well, like it's something that they said, we were really lucky to get in then. It's always been a struggle, and I think it just kind of gets passed down once either your kid gets into daycare or maybe they're able to find some sort of, shared nanny situation. Regardless of what it is, it seems to be a recurring problem. Um, and we know more than ever that people have an affordability issue. And so, the fact that people are working sometimes two jobs childcare is really necessity, and that's also the type of childcare. So,
Hmm.
a large part of our workforce is service workers. So
Yep.
maybe the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday really isn't actually appropriate for them. So it's looking
Mhm.
at also, yes, we need childcare, but we also need the appropriate childcare.
That is super interesting. Yeah, because Canmore is definitely in a similar situation you guys. We definitely have, a childcare crisis. I think we did like a study and we were assessed as being like a drought region for the amount of like spaces we have relative to the need. We do have like two daycares. We're trying to stream some more on, but they seem to kind of run into those challenges of, hey, like land is expensive in Canmore, rents are expensive in Canmore. So even operationally, how do you make a daycare work? And then I think you also alluded to like in terms like the workforce side, yeah, even housing people that work in the daycare facilities, it's crazy. Like the funding of it is really tough to kind of make the numbers work. So this is kind of one of those reasons too why we drive super hard with Canmore Community Housing, trying to create more and more situations where we can actually house locals at below
Yeah.
market, such as people working in our daycares or working in our teachers, like all those pieces. It's such a complex crazy problem. I know a lot of my friends back in the day, or even currently, have kids. They kind of piece it together. If they're lucky, they got family, or maybe they kind of do the day home thing plus another day home and a different
Yeah.
one. Yeah, it's a tricky piece for sure. And yeah, and so what else is going to be happening, you think, on the childcare front in Banff? Is there sort of like some sort of initiatives coming down or?
So it'll be strategic ideas, I think, in regards to, some barriers that we can help eliminate. So,
Mhm,
for some of our day homes right now, you need to have a designated green space attached.
mhm,
So, if you even live by a playground or something, you technically wouldn't qualify. So I suspect something like that will kind of come up the pipe, but council already, or sorry, what we just did was
mhm.
pardon me, we some land use districts didn't allow for day homes or childcares to be part of it.
Oh,
So
wow.
we just opened it up so that every residential district in town and commercial, so like that could be the Fairmont, so
Hmm.
maybe they have an opportunity for their staff or whatnot. So we've now kind of expanded that.
Hmm.
So hopefully maybe people will be incentivized, but that is a barrier that we've hopefully already kind of tackled. So
Oh, that's amazing. So just trying to open up that access.
yeah.
I do want to know one of the success stories we had is like one of our most recent CCH buildings that's getting finished up, Ptarmigan Point. It's 18 units. And one of the amazing things is one of the families is moving in. They do run a day home. And they're like, hey, if we move into this new facility, our new building, our new home, can we actually carry forward with our day home running it there? And we said, yeah. And then here we are. We have this new setup, and I do know that other families are moving into this complex that have kids, so it's just going to be amazing. Yeah, so it's a really sweet setup.
I was gonna say it's exciting, and I mean
Hmm.
it's tough because I talk to friends even from Airdrie, Cochrane, etc., and they're running into similar problems. They're still able to find something. It may not be their ideal scenario, but it's definitely not a problem that's or sorry, an issue that's just Bow Valley limited. But obviously we all have our staffing and affordability issues that I think just exonerate it.
Yeah, I remember just even anecdotally when my wife first started getting back into the workforce. I can't. I remember we had this one discussion at the kitchen table. I think like 60 to 70% of her salary went to pay for childcare. And that was just so that, she could, get out of the house and be in that situation of growing her career again. I was like, whoa, this is killing us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're so fortunate now that we at least have the subsidy. So
Exactly.
everyone, yeah, pays
Hmm.
the same, which is fantastic. But which it always should be. Everyone should have access to childcare.
Yeah.
But we need to keep up with the demand. So
Sweet. And so that's awesome that you're running for that on platform. Let's kind of dial into like a bit of bigger discussion in terms of the Banff elections. How many of the current incumbents are running again?
all of us, 6.
Whoa, okay. So
Yeah.
everybody's coming. So that might be a little tough for someone to break in. How have the forums been so far? Because you guys have had a couple.
Yeah, so we've had one formal one. So we just had the Biosphere,
Hmm.
hosted by Gareth Thompson. And it went well. Obviously the questions were all environmentally focused, which was great. I think similar to Canmore too.
Yep.
We had everyone except for one, which I know one of the candidates was out, um, and he was visiting family that they had they previously obviously committed to,
Yep.
which was fine. But yeah, no, it's gone really well so far.
Hmm.
And yeah, there's 14 candidates and there's six incumbents that are all trying to fight for our spot back. So
Wow. Okay. And so there's 14 gunning for 6 spots.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because like here in Canmore, I think we've got 12 gunning for 6 spots, and
Okay.
but at least for us, we got like one spot is
Loads.
definitely vacant because Joanna McCallum, like our super counselor, has done 4 terms, uh, which is a long time to do service. She's moving
Thank
on
you,
to something
Joanna.
like big, yeah, big, yeah. So big props to Joanna. So there's at least one spot open there,
Yeah.
and we'll see how it goes.
But
What's mhm.
no, sorry, I was just gonna say I think and the great thing about it though is that we have a wide range of diversity for the 14 that are running for the six. So I think it'll be a great democratic process.
Okay, awesome. And I remember you and I were talking about this at a prior conference where we were kind of hemming and hawing about running again because hey, this is a pretty gnarly gig. What kind of tipped the scales for you, Kaylee, to say, you know what, I'm gonna go one more go?
Yeah, sorry, I thank you for that. I remember that very well.
Totally. I was like, Kaylee, talk with me, help me here. Give me
I
your
know.
perspective.
I
Yeah.
know. I mean, like similarly, obviously everyone loves their community. It's just, it's having honestly those hard conversations with at least like, with my family,
Hmm.
my business, because it's not a matter of, whether or not you still love your community. It's whether, you can still make the commitment. Things change obviously over 4 years. I didn't have a kid before, and now I'm gonna go into my second term, hopefully, with two
Hmm.
nearly. And then it's just obviously reevaluating. But ultimately, after having those conversations, everyone was super supportive.
Hmm.
I, and I don't know about you, but I honestly found that it took me truthfully and genuinely like a year and a half to get like a good groove of the job.
Hmm.
So, like I feel like once you find your groove, you're almost halfway through your first term.
Yeah.
And I want to feel good going into a second term, knowing exactly how this process goes
Hmm.
and just feeling much more efficient
Yeah.
at the job. So I'm super excited about the things that are coming down the pipeline. I know we're partnering for that Destination Stewardship Council and then the human use management.
Yes, yes.
So anyway, there's just so many exciting things going on, but yeah, ultimately it's the support that I had from my inner circle that tipped the scales.
Yeah, that like for sure. I remember kind of like looking at my partner, do you think I could do another go? I'm kind of motivated and I think. And then I remember like asking the kiddos, like, how's it been going for you guys? And they're like, well, we've already done 4 years. It seems like you're not doing too bad. And I was like, okay. Uh, but I remember like the other part of that conversation, what you're saying when we had that convo, um, was yeah, like the on the job training, like
Yep.
for us to get in on that first term, like the community puts energy into us. There's resources
Yeah.
put into us to like learn all these things and the processes and the overlay and just all the minutia and just like and some of that stuff just only comes through time. Like I'll see one
Absolutely.
thing and then like a year and a bit later I'll see something else and I'll be like, whoa, that just came up organically. And then that's another piece of the puzzle. And
Yep.
and even just understanding the world of governance and that whole process and meetings.
Absolutely. And I mean, like the number of community members that came up to me and they were like, how's it going? And I was like, I think it's going fine. They're like, it's like trying to drink out of a fire hydrant, isn't it? Like the community members, I think, really also understand that. So I don't think
Hmm.
they fully expect you just to get it right off the bat because, it's such a sprint. I'm sure you remember too, like getting voted in, getting vetted, going through the whole training process. Then you jump almost into a conference and then you're jumping into budget.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's just like, I think the first time that I got to breathe was February. But everyone's really understanding and supportive about it. So, I just want to continue with that support. So,
Yeah, awesome. It's just funny because like here's like a funny story from like me as a rookie counselor. Like here we are, we're in these meetings, right? It is early, and you know that whole drinking out of a fire hose thing. Obviously, I've been drinking from like the fire hose like crazy because I had to go to the bathroom so bad in the middle of the meeting, and I was just like, I don't know, like what do I do? Do I ask the mayor for like a bathroom break or something? So there's this brief moment. There was like a pause in the discussion between topics. And by that point, my eyeballs were floating. I just pushed out of my chair and like ran out of the room and had to go. And I remember like the Mayor Krauser, who's next to me, was like, "Where'd he go?" And it was just like, and then after that, coming back, like completely embarrassed. Like I realized, hey, it's actually
You
okay to
just,
say, "Hey, yeah, hey, Your Worship, can we actually have a bathroom break?" Because I'm like dying. And
yeah.
but at that point, it was just like, yeah, that was just like. I don't know. I felt like I was back in like kindergarten. Like, do I ask the teacher to go to the bathroom and I just hold it for the next 6 hours?
Yeah, our municipal clerk had to like really, especially when I was pregnant with my first, like, Libby just really had to be like, it's okay. You can go to the bathroom. Just it's okay. Because I was like, are you sure? Like, do I have to pause?
Yeah, like, am
And
I
just
putting
like you
everybody
just,
out?
but no, she was just like, please go. It's fine.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, like, yeah, we can't have timeouts and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, at the moment, it just seemed like really, really heavy.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my gosh. And coming in, what are some other like sweet things that you're looking to kind of continue moving the needle on in Banff should you get reelected?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, housing is always top of mind for everyone.
Hmm.
We have a really exciting project happening at 50 Wolf Street, which is
Yeah.
yeah, just right beside the hospital, so that's super great.
Hmm.
I'm also sit on the Banff Housing Corp as a council representative with Barb Pelham, so I
Hmm.
think we're both just super excited to see that come out the pipe because it's such an exciting project. I mean, we have support from the federal government with half.
Amazing.
We also have some provincial support as well. We got a great community support from the Women POW.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, the Women and Nancy Powell Foundation, pardon me,
Hmm.
for some great community space. So really excited to see that come forward,
Hmm.
as well as just the movement of the needle on the units that we'll see with the recent land use bylaw amendments.
Hmm.
So certainly excited for that. And then we also just passed the community plan. So
Yeah.
just to also see some of the actions that will now come out of that. So,
Hmm.
that process was all obviously quite lengthy and, you know, great involvement from the community. So I'm excited to see what the next 4 years brings from that.
Awesome. So we kind of talked about some of the upsides of political office. I think one of the downsides, and it's a
Mm.
necessary downside, is campaigning. Oh my God, how's campaigning coming along for you?
Yeah, it's busy.
Yes.
It's so busy, but it's so great and it's so busy. It's um I don't know about you, but I've actually, and I was saying this today,
Hmm.
I've had more um emails and inquiries of, a set group of questions,
Hmm.
and like a deadline as to like when to get back. And I don't rem we got a few before. Obviously, the library usually does it, the RMO
Hmm.
publishes theirs.
Hmm.
But this year we've had a number of other participants and just like also residents that are
Wow.
so engaged.
Hmm.
So it's obviously also super busy. Um, I'm so thankful that we have local printing companies that are able to do postcards, door hangers, signs, etc. Because obviously with the Canada Post strike as well, I know
For
a
sure.
few counselors, their postcards were stuck in the mail,
Ouch.
unfortunately.
Ouch.
But I mean, obviously there's a lot of door knocking and effort that goes into that as well as the questions and the forums.
Hmm.
But it's such an engaging process.
Yep.
Um, it's exhausting, but it's a very I'm listening to learn. So,
Mm,
and as I'm sure obviously everyone else is as well, but that's just as you know, like and everyone knows active listening is just it's exhausting.
for sure. And this because it's interesting. Like say I find campaigning in Canmore is a little bit different. th this year we
Yeah,
passed a bylaw with regarding like signage or like our council,
right,
just because we just had such blowback when like we like federal election, provincial election, municipal election. There was just like a lot of people really were challenged by like the visual graffiti, as that they called it, and so we kind of like dialed it back to the okay, well we're still going to allow signage, but we'll let signage happen on private properties.
right.
And so, do you guys allow signage at all in Banff?
Yeah, there are
Hmm.
some, um, yes, is the short answer.
Okay.
Though is similarly, it does have to be on private property,
Hmm.
and but not many really opt for it. It's not, residents of Banff, I don't believe appreciate seeing that all
Right.
over people's lawns. So no one, sorry, there are a few counselors that, or sorry, candidates that are running that do have some lawn signs that you can certainly pick up if you're in support of them, but
Hmm.
not a lot of candidates tend to opt for it. And I think that's probably also um due to seeing probably the feedback that
Yeah.
honestly probably you guys get. So yeah, I don't even remember that conversation from the first time that I ran. It just was, no.
Huh. That's interesting because like I feel in Canmore that we're in this interesting zone where like where we can't have like like mass sign proliferation because it used to be crazy. But now at
Yeah.
the same time it still feels like signs have a degree of importance. And it's kind of this piece when people are driving around the neighborhood, like every single sign that you do see on someone's lawn. And there are definitely signs on people's lawns,
Yep,
like like all the candidates are trying their best to get out there. It's like, okay, well, that's like a hard stance. Okay, like that person had to like really like resonate with the candidate to take the trust piece to put the sign on their lawn.
absolutely.
And and that's huge. I also find like for myself, uh I haven't really gone to door knocking route. I know some people like love it. Like I feel for myself here in the Bow Valley, kind of mixed results.
Yep.
I've heard stories of people going to knock on people's doors and people because you knocked on my door, I'm gonna vote for you. But on the flip side, I've
Oh,
heard stories in Canberra because you knocked on my door, I'm not voting for you. It's actually like whoa, whoa, whoa,
okay.
whoa. Because maybe you like they just got the baby to sleep and it's like ding dong and then the
Yeah,
kid wakes up or and it's an interesting thing. So I still feel that human interaction piece is really important. So what I've been doing is going to public spaces where our community congregates, for example, like our farmers market, and
okay.
setting up a bit of a table there, have some signs and some like stickers, and just have people come up and talk with us. And then I find that's been really helpful as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are definitely other, some candidates do that as well, especially those that have a bit more time than others. They'll offer to meet up for coffee
Hmm.
at various locations, which is great. I know a candidate, not this election, but last election,
Hmm.
um, did sorry, did a meet in the park at the
Oh,
market
cool.
every single week. So I think that that went over fairly well. Because
Hmm.
again, it's similarly, people also park up, at the grocery store right before they close because locals always need something an hour before a grocery store closes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but definitely door knocking I think is highly valued in Banff.
Amazing. Hmm.
Especially because, with communities like Valley View, Middle Springs, etc., that's where the bulk of a good portion of the residents that are super engaged,
Hmm. Hmm.
typically live.
Hmm.
So it's I don't think it's held against anyone if they
Hmm.
choose not to door knock,
Hmm.
but I think it certainly it's still highly valued.
Right. Awesome. And then that's cool just to see how like
Yeah.
different areas have like different methodologies and stuff. And I think also it's one of those things like you said is like the time piece. Like how much time have you got? And like what's the most
Yeah.
powerful way to get it across? And I see some candidates they struggle a bit because they're like door knocking and sometimes you might hit a door that's like a 25-minute conversation.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and sometimes that conversation is completely like off to the side. It's like tough to rein it back in. And I think just for myself with like the two kids and the 5 gajillion activities and all the other stuff that yeah, I think like those kind of set meet points have really worked for me. How's the social media side for you guys? Is that a bit of a still a tool in the realm of Banff campaigns?
I would say so, especially because from the social assessment or sorry, the social assessment results that we got, we found out that the bulk of our community population is from the ages of 21 to 35. I think it's about
Oh,
46%.
huh.
Like it's really high. It's in the 40s. So, I can guarantee you, I people may not necessarily be as active on Facebook, but they, sure as heck are on Instagram. So
Hmm.
having, I think, a strong social media presence and also trying to engage a lot of that demographic is really where it's at as well. Because as we know, at least in Banff, our senior population in the last probably 4 to 8 years has gone from 6 to 12%.
Oh,
So,
wow.
or 6 to 13 almost. Like it's definitely doubled.
Hmm.
So we know they're engaged. We know that they're taking the time to go and vote. It's ensuring that we also get out the young demographic as well.
Hmm.
So, from a social media side, I think that engagement piece is really critical.
Hmm.
And that's also sometimes where, people do door knock or go business to business as well. So, going into restaurants
Oh,
or
wow. You guys will door
stores.
knock on a business.
Well, or just to like talk to a
Yeah.
manager and say like, how can I, or how can you, or how can I support,
Yeah.
getting your staff or, anyone that engaged or like going to vote because we need that vote. Like we want people to be engaged and
Hmm.
we saw, a massive uptake of participants with the vote of the electorate with the ped zone. So
Hmm.
that surpassed any municipal election turnout.
Yep.
So really to also ensure that that's the case for going into this 2025 election, that we're getting as many people out to vote as we can.
Oh, man. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. I would totally agree with that. Like, it's kind of one of those weird things where sometimes as I've been on the campaign trail, a lot of times, like the people that come to the forums, they're
Yeah.
often, like you said, older.
Yeah.
Like a lot older, and bless their hearts, like they're engaged and they're stalwart and their curiosity and like defense of the community and what they feel. But the younger folks, it's like we're all the younger people,
I
and
know.
so yeah, so that's definitely something like we're still trying to unlock. We do have a forum coming up, hopefully that's going to run with the Cyan Canmore Young Adult Network, where we kind of go there,
Okay.
and fingers crossed. And the other thing is just like
Yeah.
yeah, conversational, super important.
Yeah, and I think, where Banff, and the reason why a lot of people tend to go to storefronts or even different businesses is just the fact that we also typically can have a very transient community.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, but we also people who aren't transient but work in the service industry that are Canadian,
Yep.
that are over a certain age, and it's not in their daily life to be reminded of votes. So
Yeah.
it's yeah we our our demographic is unique, and so it's just trying to cover all bases as much as possible because half of I admittedly don't I didn't have one friend in my age group that attended the last forum.
Yep. I could totally see that. Um, so last question here, and I
Yeah,
think this is an issue because like we both work in these communities that have a lot of folks that can't vote.
yeah.
And they're often like working super hard. Um, they're a part of the community, and these decisions affect them. What are your thoughts on how is it that we as elected officials can still factor in the needs and the challenges and the desires of the segments of our community that actually can't vote? What do we do?
Yeah, and I appreciate that question.
Hmm.
And at least from my perspective, and for those that don't know, the business that I run is it's a seasonal rental equipment store. So
Hmm.
in the wintertime, we do skis and snowboards. And then in the summertime, we do bikes and camping. And so, the bulk of my staff, though, I have 5 staff that have been there anywhere from 10 years to since 2001.
You're a good employer. No
Thank
one
you.
would stay with you that long if you weren't a good human, Kaylee. Just saying.
Well, it's also my family that started it, so
Sure.
I'll give them credit to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, but admittedly, the bulk of what our staff are is those that are working on a working holiday visa.
Hmm.
Um So, and I'm in store, at least 4 days a week. So I hire them, I interact with them, and and as well, we don't the most I do have some availability for rooms, but it's not considered staff accom,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it's only if it works out. But so I'm not an employer that can offer,
Hmm.
this huge building of staff accommodation. So I'm constantly fighting with larger employers or losing staff because of housing.
Hmm.
So I feel connected to a lot of the stuff that goes on within their life
Hmm.
because I'm still so invested and involved
Hmm.
in that industry.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel very fortunate to be connected
Hmm.
and, hear obviously, the good, the bad, the ugly for, what goes on within the community and try my best to, guide for what is within the purview of what I
Hmm.
can and can't control, both from an employer perspective as well as a town
Hmm.
and obviously even as a friend.
Yeah.
But it really is also I've, become really great friends with the people that I drop my dog off to for doggy daycare or
Hmm.
going to a gym or a yoga studio or what have you. Like I think it's, the engagement as to where those people go. And it's not always a bar.
Hmm.
It is, it could be, it could be something at the library. It
Yep.
could, be something. Everyone in the Bow Valley is also so active. So I think any sort of active group is crucial, but it really is, I think it's reflective as you being an active community member.
Awesome. Well, Kaylee, we're kind of winding down here in terms of like time. I know you got your little guy you got to take care of in a sec. How can people who are in Banff learn more about your platform? What's the best way to reach you?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, Facebook and Instagram, as well as I have my council email, so it's on the Town of Banff website, or it's also available on my social media platforms,
Hmm.
which is re-elect Kaylee Ram for council.
You.
Um, Boo boo, small plug.
Yeah.
But and then, again, I'm meeting with people, I'm meeting for coffee, going for walks, taking the time. I am going out to door knock, but if someone wanted to, of course, make, pardon me, the effort to meet one-on-one, then I'm also happy to do that and they can connect that way.
Awesome. Kaylee, as someone who's going through the grind of campaigning, I have the total empathy for you, and I'm wishing you all the best. And I've got my fingers crossed that after October 20th, you and I will be in like good spots and we can continue
Yes,
to collaborate for the Bull Valley. All
I
right.
believe in it.
Yeah, you're awesome, man. Hang in there.
You
Okay.
too, Jeff.
Okay.
Thank
Take care.
you.